Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below what you think, you fuck buckets!
I was a great warrior, a prodigy of my craft. No warrior alive could match my speed or precision. I was unrivaled in the Smash Ring until that fateful day. Come on, fall! Why don't you fall?
Because Slappy didn't raise no wimps!
Time! Due to the undecided factor of equal points, the fight is considered a draw.
You can't be serious! No, I will not accept this! I can beat him!
Both fighters, please exit the ring for the next challenger.
You bastard! You cheated me out of a win! My sword has never known defeat, but that was the closest I'd ever come. I have found a worthy rival. Since then I would train, practice, improve my skill. But over time, it was fruitless, for he had improved his skill as well. Over 1,000 tries, and not once was our tie ever settled. Even when competing in other things, something would always get in the way. Even upon the eve of the greatest and most epic battles, something would always stop our fights to be. I beg of you, Master, please help me, train me to become stronger. This is a fight I must see through, but it's as if the universe itself is against the outcome.
Perhaps then your question is not meant to be answered.
Please, Master, how will I ever move on? How will I know? How do I find it?
I don't know. You have spent so much time finding balance with your blade. Perhaps it is time you start finding balance in your mind.
But how do I find balance?
Maybe start by asking a different question.
Until I get an answer. That is the only question.
So, how has Wrong Hordak not realized that he's not among actual friends?
I don't know, shot in the dark?
The episode begins on the ship. God, I'm getting cabin fever at this point. As Adore and the rest of them are trying to figure out what to do next. After Perfuma's transmission, the war seems to be pretty much over. And with the blockade around the planet, they can't even get to it anymore. Glimmer even complains that if they were closer, she could just teleport them all. Which is something I did want to bring up. How come Glimmer can't teleport anymore? What happened to her powers? Is the gem of shining light limited by range? If so, why is her power teleportation? It's weird. Well, Adora says, well, they have no other choice. Ram the fuck out of them. And Katra says, you're an idiot. And Adora goes, you got any better ideas? And Katra says, yeah, not dying. And Bo actually agrees with Katra, surprisingly. And he begins to question, hey, did you notice if Hordak had any weakness at all? And Katra's like, bitch, you think he'd tell me? But it seems that Wrong Hordak seems to know a little something. After questioning him a little bit, he, well, tries to deny that Hordak Prime does have a weakness. And that weakness isn't too far off, on a planet in fact. And so, while not being convinced that he's hiding something, Entraptor does a quick Google search and discovers a planet that's nearby, a planet that Hordak Prime seemed to try to conquer, but was forced to retreat for some reason. Well, it's as good a lead as any, and a bad plan is better than no plan, so it's time to boldly go where only Hordak Prime seems to have gone before and ran like a bitch. I wonder what we can see.
I just have to point out and ask, is it really the best idea to be, going around to other planets while this ship has been shown multiple times to be barely holding it together as it is?
And I also happen to notice that there's not a lot of people on the ship, but the ship was made for like one person, She-Ra, and that was Mira She-Ra. How much rations do they have? I mean, they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on this ship, and they've never run out of rations? Not once? How long have they been in space?
I guess we'll just chalk that up to this.
I have so many questions!
So Team Friendship arrives on this eerie planet. Why is Etheria the only planet in the entire goddamn solar system that actually looks pleasant? Any rate, so they go to this unknown world. They see a wrecked Horde ship, so they know that they're probably in the right place. And they go exploring for a bit. They find an abandoned building and they go inside, and Entraptra finds a port, which she proceeds to plug Wrong Hordak into, because I guess he's a living USB cord connecting cable? I don't know. Well, she uses this connection to plug him in and do a schematic on the building. And after Bo does a little bit of ridicule on how cute Catra looks, becomes ecstatic that Entraptra has found a living creature on the planet, though Wrong Hordak insists that there are no living creatures on the planet. But Entraptra, it hasn't screwed up with machines yet. Why would she screw up now? Well, aside from all the other times she screwed up with the machines, but this time she seems to know what she's doing. So they decide to investigate this life signal. We later cut back to Etheria, where they're picking up the pieces. They're picking up anything that they can salvage and showing genuine remorse over the people that they lost, be it by mind control or other means. I really wish they would let the emotional weight of this scene go on a little bit longer, but who should be one of the few people left on the entire goddamn planet that's not on Horde Prime's side? Casta Spella. Oh, come on! Well, after inspecting that she's not a Horde spy, they unfortunately let her in as they try to figure out what to do next. Because this ain't a rebellion anymore, this is a retreat. This is, we lost, so we gotta go into hiding before we're branded war criminals. But who should be the literal only other person not under mind control but Shadow Weaver? Because of course it's Shadow Weaver. They don't even inspect her neck though, but I wouldn't really need to inspect her neck either, because I already don't trust her. So what would her working with the Horde have anything to offer? She's already a bad bitch. But she claims that she does know of some way of fixing things, but she needs Castaspella's help. So while the others go off and no longer become relevant in the episode, Castaspella decides to follow Shadow Weaver, because we're going with the strategy of a bad plan is better than no plan, and siding with the lesser of two evils, well, to quote Ratchet,
aligning with the lesser of two evils is still siding with evil.
So we cut back to Scooby-Doo and the gang, as they're exploring this wrecked building when they run into a wall. But Entraptra informs them that that's not a wall, and there's still passageway for them to go through. But while this is happening, Wrong Hordak seems to be downloading all the information that was hidden from him, and he begins to have an existential crisis as he's revealing to himself the evidence of his Lord and Master Horde Prime's full retreat from this world. And it seems to be really getting to the poor guy. I honestly feel bad for him. Well, Catra makes an entrance, which, I'm just gonna say this. If a door is sealed off, it's probably sealed off for a reason. And as they get inside, they run into rooms and hallways filled with weird glowing lights and weird stuff growing all over the walls. I'm gonna say this, if they start running into the flood, somebody better call Master Chief and get that She-Ra's energy sword ready.
So they keep getting directions from Entraptra while listening to Wrong Hordak's pleas of his life is a lie while traveling along this derelict hallway. And, well, we get a few more shots from Bo hitting Catra where it hurts, her pride, calling her cute and such, and embarrassing her. But then the wall starts to eat her. Yeah, this escalated quickly. And apparently the wall likes the taste of Cat as it tries to chomp down with spike teeth all throughout the hallway, and they just manage to escape.
Wait, so the wall tried to eat them and they still decide to continue? Yeah, I'm more of a subscriber to, if you're in doubt, get the fuck out.
We cut back to the two least favorite characters on the show, and yeah, they're having a pissing party. Anyway, we cut back to the main heroes, as Catra is insistent that they turn around and go back. But thankfully, the show seems to agree because they are right back where they started. And things are getting more spoopy, as they get a call from Entraptra telling them to go left, and a hallway just magically appears there. And I did do the double take. That wall was not there before. But Adoris just decides, fuck it, let's go in. Despite the obvious trap that's being laid forward. And then they get another call from Entraptra, as she informs them of what actually happened on this planet. Apparently, this planet was a colony of the first ones, mining some resource, but Hordak also attacked the planet. But it's still unclear what caused them to retreat in the first place. But when Catra begins saying, well, why didn't you tell us this sooner? And what's with this weird directions you've been giving us? She informs them that she wasn't giving him directions at all. In fact, she hasn't talked to him since a few floors ago. And she also informs them that there's a fifth member of the party. A fifth member that just so happens to be standing right behind them. And it's some guy with water on his head. Like a water helmet. Catra does the first instincts of a cat and immediately tries to kill the newcomer. And they get teleported somewhere else. And while Catra's trying to phone her friends, the weird waterhead creature turns into a giant rage kitty monster.
Oh no, she's in trouble! We gotta help her!
No, we don't. I mean, do you really think they're gonna kill her off?
Oh, yeah. I guess that was stupid.
Instinctive, not stupid. But Adora follows her natural instincts and tries to protect Catra. But those weird light spores things show up again, and those giant teeth spike things shoot out of all the walls trying to eat them again. But Glimmer seems to have a theory, and she discovers that those spikes are nothing more than illusions. All of it was nothing but illusions. Magical illusions. She's able to cast a spell which causes the illusions to break. And then she discovers what this stuff actually is. It's magic. They're surrounded by magic. And since this planet is apparently magical, Glimmer's not entirely useless anymore. Yay! Oh yeah, Catra's still in danger. Well, Catra is still dealing with this creature in front of her, who turns invisible for no reason and then turns visible again.
And then Catra sneezes in front of it, which I guess is the safe word, as it pacifies itself almost immediately, becoming this cute, adorable little thing. Adora and the rest of them come up trying to save Catra, only to discover that she's petting the thing that's causing the danger. And when asked about this, and Bo ridiculing her some more, she snaps, Kitty snaps, and Catra explains that she's trying to understand the creature and says it works on emotions. In other words, calm environment, calm creature. Adora is so proud of her, and Catra is doing everything she possibly can not to kill everybody. And Catra is able to calm it down, which, again, tapping the nose seems to be its other trigger, as it starts generating magic on a massive scale. Adora approaches it, and after showing her own glowy magical eyes, the cat begins to trust her as well, but favors Catra more. I guess it's the cat thing. And apparently, Catra is able to understand what it's saying. I'm not sure if that's a cat thing, if that's racist, but she explains what happened to this world through this creature's eyes. The first ones came, colonized the world, mined the magic, but then Hordak attacked. Hordak was able to chase off the first ones, but was unable to control the magic that he had acquired. He couldn't figure out a way to power it in his army, so he was forced to flee. But unfortunately, this meant that he was going to scrub the planet out of the system. And then Glimmer comes up with the epiphany of the century. Hordak's weakness is magic! Seriously? That's it? Just magic?
Magic.
That's it? I was kind of hoping there'd be more to it than...
Nope. Magic.
But seriously, no specific kind of magic? No specific spell or incantation? Not even a magical item? You're just going to Alaka stab ya? Avada cap your ass? Bippity boppity boom? I got a list of these. I could go on. So after this monstrous waste of time and this unbelievable revelation, they ask the creature, which has named itself to be Mealog, to come with them, and the creature seems to accept. And hooray, right? And Entraptra, with all her information, is happy to inform everyone that Wrong Hordak has gotten over his existential crisis and is now on a mission to stop Horde Prime. So yay! He had more character development in one episode than most of the characters had for over a season. I'm not sure if that's happy or sad news. But this does bring up the question, how the fuck are they still gonna get through to the planet to protect it to begin with? But it seems that Catra has a plan. But unfortunately, we do have to cut back to the B-plot, as Castaspella has had it with Shadow Weaver leading her on into what looks like the middle of nowhere, where she stumbles across a horde of Poombas, all just chillaxing in the midst of everything, and Shadow Weaver begins to explain to Castaspella what her plan actually entails, as she seems to be well aware that the first ones didn't enhance the magic of Etheria, but rather contained it, weakened it, tried to control it. But if they have a chance of standing up to Castastella's brother, King Micah, and all of the Horde, they have to release the bonds that the first ones put in place to begin with. Castaspeller calls her out, and Shadow Weaver doesn't even deny it. She wants the power. Of course she wants the power. It's Shadow Weaver. But, again, a bad plan seems to be better than no plan at all. And as long as Castaspella's there, who am I kidding? She can't stop Shadow Weaver. But she inevitably agrees to help Shadow Weaver release the uncontrolled power of this world. however that might be. Of course, we all know what she's thinking. Heart of Etheria, folks. Heart of Etheria.
She is never gonna let that one go.
I mean, it does make sense for a character. She's a literal power leech. And having that much power stored at the heart of the planet, of course she was gonna want her hands in it.
But it's almost become a cliche for her at this point, and it was only introduced last season. So we begin to finish off the episode back with Team Adora, as they still have the problem of getting past the blockade around the planet. And, against their better judgment, they entrust the protection of themselves to the creature known as Milog, who uses its magical powers to cloak the ship in an invisible magical force field, which I guess protects them from being detected by radars too? I'm not entirely sure how this magic works, but again, the broad stroke of magic seems to be Hordak Prime's weakness. And with this broad stroke, they're able to smoothly glide right through the blockade and safely make it back home to the planet. And all cheers, all smiles, the doors open to their homeworld, and none of them are prepared for the fight that's about to take place. And that was Shot in the Dark, which they could have added on to the name. Shot in the dark, blindfolded, wearing deafening earmuffs, and spun around a few times. Like what this episode was trying to accomplish.
Let's be fair and do some of the good things. We do know that we got introduced to the character known as Milog, which seems more like a familiar than a character, but at least it gives someone for Catra specifically to interact with.
And Wrong Hordak was fully entertaining throughout the entirety of the episode. It's nice to see that they're finally giving this character some development and not just being a stooge who's confused. Now he's fully supporting the cause. And it would be nice to see what they do with him in the future. Maybe he'll be like the spark that turns all the clones against Horde Prime. That would be interesting to see. Like, he's cut off from the hive mind, so he's able to see things clearly. Maybe he can connect himself back in and convince all the clones that Horde Prime isn't as all-powerful as they all originally thought he was.
I don't think the writer's going to pursue that angle, though.
Yeah, they're not competent enough.
Damn it, I hate it when you're right. The whole episode was pretty much centered around the idea that Hordak Prime has an Achilles heel. And the whole episode was pointed towards trying to find a clue, or at least something to point where that Achilles heel is. Just for the big reveal that it's just basic magic, just seems like it's a waste of an episode. It's a filler. I was willing to forgive one episode before for a filler episode, but 2 episodes that are specifically filler in a 12-episode season, you don't have the room or the space for that. I'm also not entirely sure what the point of Castaspella and Shadow Weaver were. Like, of course, Shadow Weaver is going after the heart of Etheria again. Whatever her intentions are, that's her plan. That's her sole goal at this point. And honestly, what was even the point of bringing back Castaspella? While not the worst episode of She-Ra, I mean, there are episodes that are far worse. This episode was definitely a waste of time. Only 2 things were really accomplished, and both of them were really minor.
But now that they're back on the planet, maybe they can actually start picking up the pieces of where things might have left off for the rebellion.
And Catra being forced to face her past. Yep, she's gonna have a lot of making up to do.
Well, they'll probably either address it, but sweep it under the rug, or not address it at all, and just act like things are normal. But regardless, here's to hoping that the last 4 episodes or so of She-Ra are good ones. So, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen, the organizers of Chaos's Vintage Kings. See you next time!
Winner, Samurai Essa! You can't beat me! I'm the Dragon Warrior!
You're a fool.
Looks like Essa's heading off to the semifinals.
Good luck in the semifinals yourself, Commando.
Hey, thanks. Speaking of which, what's your next opponent?
Well, going by the roster, I will be fighting... Oh,